Welcome. You have reached review time with Imperial, and today's review will be Dumb Money, a Netflix original. Subscribe to the channel, like the video. Let's get into it. So let's go over the cast of this movie. Starting off, Paul Dano plays as Keith Gill. Pete Davidson plays as Kevin Gill, which is Keith's brother. America Ferrera plays as Jenny. Nick Offerman plays as Ken Griffin. Seth Rogen plays as Gabe Plotkin. Anthony Ramos plays as Marcos Garcia. Mahala plays as Riri. Vincent D'Onofrio plays as Steve Cohen. And then let me see if any other Sebastian Stan plays as Vlad Tenevi. Oh man, I didn't even know that. I didn't, I know he looked familiar in the movie. Sebastian Stan. That's, if you didn't know, that's Winter Soldier. Who else? Okay, Clancy Brown plays as Steve Gill. That was the father of Keith Gill. That's pretty much it. But this was a decent movie based on true events. So Keith Gill, like, he's a lower middle class working as a financial analyst in Brockton, Massachusetts. And during his spare time, he regularly frequent in the stock market on subreddit Wall Street Bets. And he just was posting his opinions on YouTube. And in the process of this, he was studying the stock market. He went underneath the name Roaring Kitty. And so he's just struggling, trying to provide for his family, student debt, typical story out here. Of course, it shows the one percenters how they pretty much navigate, utilize money, live this ridiculous lifestyle. Most of us couldn't even imagine that we can actually be a part of that lifestyle without doing something strange. And it shows how they move. And of course, we see it all the time. When they get in debt and mess up money, the other one percenters pull together, bail them out, or some other entity come and bail them out. The average person doesn't experience that. We mess up money or we get in debt, we stay in debt. Nobody comes and bail us out. So you see that in the movie. So he meaning Keith Gill, is constantly being mocked, like, you don't know what you're talking about. But he stayed firm in what he believed in. So during the pandemic, of course, a lot of businesses was shut down. A place like GameStop was actually stayed open because they were looked at as essential business, because you could go there and get PC products. People were working from home, so plus, gaming could be used as a form of entertainment. So they were able to stay afloat. So during this time, there was a firm by the name of Melvin Capital Management and its founder Gabe Plotkin. They've been short selling stock in the chain on the assumption it would close, causing a mass increase in GameStop's overall stock price. So what happened is, that they try to do the okey doke where they pretty much make a stock go extremely low. People jump off the bandwagon and then they buy low. But what happened is, when this company did that, the normal investors, by using Robinhood, where the average person could just jump on, set up your bank account, and then start trading and buying stocks and stuff like that. The small man was buying the stocks, and they just kept buying. So it was kind of like even in the movie, it said this looks like a Ponzi scheme, in a sense, theoretically, if you think about it. whoever gets in whatever position you got in at, depending on how much you bought, if you finally sell at a certain point, you could benefit. So what happens when it start taking off, a lot of different people were listening to Roaring Kitty, and which was Keith Gill, and people, he was picking up a following, and it start building. And he was holding fort. So he started off when they first showed, when he showed, he at the end of the day, he would show his spreadsheet to show like, this is not a game, this is something I'm really doing. So he was sitting at like 50,000, 53,000, something like that. And other people start joining in, and they start holding their money. Not don't sell any little bit of money that they got. They will buy into it and just hold on. So by them not holding, more people were jumping on board. It was rising and rising. So certain people got in when it was like $20 a share, depending on how much you bought. It was rising. So eventually the heat start taking off. Now the Melvin Global Capital, they started getting nervous because they're losing money big time, because this stock didn't fold, and people, the little man is sticking to the top. Now of course they play dirty. So they play dirty, and they call in the powers that be, and you see that happen in the movie, and they get the bailout. Now at this point, the GameStop stock rose to about, it topped at like 483 per share. So right around that time, you had certain people that was holding, and it showed Keith Gill. He was like the main person that was leading the pack, even though he did give a disclaimer. He's not a financial advisor, he's not part of anything. This is just his opinions and everything like that. He was sitting on, I think they showed him at one point, 22 million or something like that. 23 million or something like that, because he had a conversation with his dad, and his dad was telling him like, are you nuts, like sell. So you had America Ferrera character, her name was Jenny. Now she was a nurse, mortgage with 2 kids, and at one point she was up a $500,000. This is the part where when you see in a movie and you're watching it, you like, okay, this small man, and I don't mean man, I'm just figuratively speaking, man or woman, has an opportunity to change their lifestyle, at least their immediate situation. And you got to be careful not to become one of the 1% and be greedy or whatever. Now they think they're just holding diamond, holding fort, and we just gonna stick it. But you can lose this money at any given time. And if this type of money changes your immediate situation, I don't know if you could hold but so long. So you witnessed that. So it got to the point where it topped out at 483, and when Robinhood made it so you couldn't buy no more GameStop stock, so that it couldn't keep pushing it, a lot of people start selling off, and your stock dropped. And Jenny, by the end of the movie, it showed like each one's net worth. Her net worth was -13, so she never got to sell. It almost made it look like she was just happy just to be part of it at one point, and she never got to sell anything. So that kind of sucks when you see that, because it's like that money could have changed her whole situation. She should have sold when she got a few $100,000, and it was enough to pay off her immediate debt. Now somebody could say, well, no, she was holding because she thought she could get more, but at least she could have sold enough to clean off her debt, and then she'd still have shares. So if it did do anything more, she would be able to benefit as well. So she was like the only character that really didn't benefit Um, Marcos Garcia, played by Anthony Ramos, his character was working at GameStop. He didn't sell all his shares. He sold half. He sold enough money that he can leave the store and quit pretty much. And at one point he was sitting on like 175,000, and his parents was telling him just sell, don't be stupid. And he was like, I'll buy you a mansion. They was like, we don't need a mansion. Basically, we just need to get out where we at. So that was another heartfelt moment that you will pay attention to. When it came to Keith Gill, by the end of the movie, it said he got in front of Congress. He had to say his speech in front of Congress, and he pretty much said, they pretty much said he had inside trading going on. He had inside scoop of everything. He basically said no. He just paid attention to the numbers and paid attention to the stock, and he pretty much said um, he was standing firm. So it showed him buy like another 50,000 shares, and then it tripled after he did that, and then he eventually just made one last post, and it said his net worth at the time he made his last post was like 34 million. So he stuck it to a lot of people. He probably, his net worth was 34, probably walked with anywhere after taxes and everything, like probably like 10, 15, because it did show him buy his brother a car at the end, a Lambo. And so he came off. Everybody, it was two girlfriends in there. Their net worth was a couple 100,000, 200,000 to 300,000 a piece or something like that. So they came off. The only one that didn't come off was Jenny. She was the only one that said negative, whatever, what her net worth was. So, and she was the one, was probably the second highest up, up $500,000, and she really believed in it. And her coworker was telling her like, you need to sell, but she wouldn't listen. Overall, it was a good movie, based on true events that you just see. Anytime you see like a rags to riches story, people will always pay attention to see how somebody went through a struggle and then came up, and then to see it play out. I guess you have to be, it's easier said than done when you're not in that situation. So you can give your opinion like I'm giving my opinion, just basically saying I would have pulled at a certain point when I had enough money that covered my immediate situation and held the rest, because that type of situation don't come around all the time. And of course, as you see in a movie, when the powers that be get involved, they put all types of different situations in place so this can't happen again, or at least not happen to the way it happened that time. Get an opportunity, take a look at the movie. It's a decent movie to watch. Subscribe to the channel, like the video. Out of my 4-star rating system, I give it a 3 out of 4 stars. Till next time.